So, hey, everybody, I have another really special guest this week. I would like to introduce you to Kirk Walters, who is the Chief Momentum Officer of the Walters Group. Kirk, thank you so much for coming and talking with me today.
Thanks for having me, Shelby.
So, Kirk, I've known you and networked with you for a while now, and in your 30-second commercials, you're often saying that you deliver momentum. And this is exactly what you do. So why don't you explain to me and to everyone how you deliver momentum, what that means, and kind of what you do?
Okay. So momentum actually came from working with a marketing consultant where we actually interviewed past clients and asked them, what did they get from us? And they basically said skills, structure, and courage. And we looked at each other and said, will you give them momentum? And I said, what? But truly, a lot of the small business owners that I work with, they're really good at their deliverable, their product and their service. But on the business side, this is not what they do naturally. And many of us are like that. You know, you really have to work at the business side. So we try to help them be clear at what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. We also try to get them to work smarter and not harder, and not waste time. So consequently, we help them put in policies and procedures and systems that kind of grease the skids and keep things going and builds momentum. And the momentum is a personal thing. It's also a company thing. You feel it.
Okay. So, Kirk, the reason why I wanted to kind of bring you in this week is because, I mean, COVID, right? 2020 was just businesses had to, as everyone keeps using the words, pivot and shift and all those other things that, those new words that became part of our life now. What are you seeing with the smaller businesses that you're working with? How are you helping them when they have to do things differently?
So a lot of encouragement, a lot of encouragement. Most of my clients have the answers, but this has been an overwhelming year, as you said. And sometimes, just getting them to talk and unloading their brains a little bit helps them be clear about what it is they're doing. And if there's anything that small business owners are, they're resilient. You have to be resilient and you have to have grit to do this kind of work. And look, you're a small business owner too. I'm a small business. We know you have to persevere. So this year has been a lot of listening, questioning, and getting clients and small business owners to discover their answers. They have them, but
Right.
sometimes emotional stress and things, the brain is blocked a little bit. So, that's part of what we've been doing. And also going back to the fundamentals,
Right.
I teach business fundamentals. You don't have to do Harvard Business School. You have to do basics. And it's small changes accumulated over time that make the biggest difference.
So, Kirk, when I got into real estate, and I've known you for years now, and when I first got into real estate, I actually participated in one of your momentum groups for small businesses where it was a small group of us together. And you would bring up something and we would kind of focus and talk about it as a group and so forth. And I think it's important because here I am, I've got you talking about what you can do to help people's businesses, but I didn't ask you, and I guess I should first, is how did you get into this, and what is your background and your experience? Because I've been in front of you where I've watched businesses that are smaller that you ask a question and they were like, huh, and then you expand on that. And so talk a little bit about your experience that kind of validates what you're trying to do for small businesses.
Okay. So without revealing how old I am, I have been involved in business for 45 years. So I was in 3 different industries, and I was mostly in sales and marketing and management. So everything that I do kind of has a sales and marketing filter over it, but I have a lot of experience. And there are many things, when you're in business, stuff energizes you when you're working for yourself or you're working for somebody else. but there's also stuff that deflates you. So having a self-awareness of what those things are is really an important thing for somebody who facilitates like I do. But all of my experience, I saw a lot of companies do a lot of stupid things. Okay. And again, it's basics, it's fundamentals, it's about the people. You know, if we take the people out of the equation, business would be a lot easier. But so consequently, you know, I'm a people person and I listen, and people need to be validated and know that, you know, they're not stupid and they know what they're doing. They just kind of have to get out of their own way. So, you know, having led sales teams and, you know, achieved goals, and I have a pretty good track record doing that. But 13 years ago, I actually worked with a career counselor, and this is what I'm meant to do. I do these things naturally. So that's why I created the consulting group, the Walters Group.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask you just a little bit, when you start working with a client, what exactly is it that you start with?
Often it's the same question. What do you want? Which leads to more questions. So a lot of questioning and a lot of listening, and I write down things, and oftentimes I don't have it here, but use an easel so we can see the ideas emerge together. And this is where things that they don't say are the answers. And by asking more questions and listening, that's when they say, oh, I never looked at it that way.
Right.
You know,
Right. So you facilitate, like you said, you facilitate the conversation so that you lead them down the path. It's kind of like your big why, and then all those little steps to get to what's your real big why.
There are consultants that will direct the total process, and it'll be a linear, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step thing to get to an end. I don't work that way.
Okay.
I let the client directs where we're going to go, because sometimes you have a project you're working on and you come into their office and you sit down and something's happened between the time you saw them last, and that becomes a major issue that may be a roadblock that they have to solve today. So, you know, although we like to keep going on the work we're doing, sometimes these things are more important to address. And you don't do that unless you listen.
You're a business therapist. That's what you are. You're a business therapist.
I have been accused of that.
So Kirk, we're going to be wrapping up so that I can make sure that I have enough time to get you on my LinkedIn as well. So how can someone reach you? What is a great contact way to get in touch with you?
So any conversation about someone's needs we're off the clock. Okay. So I prefer to talk rather than email, but my email is kirk@waltersgroupllc.com. And my cell phone number is 267-377-7240. Text or leave me a message. That's the way we need to start a conversation. And oftentimes those first conversations, I take notes, and it becomes the launching pad from when we start working together.
All right. So real quickly, but not quickly, say it slower.
Okay.
Your phone number one more time. That way they don't have to rewind the video.
Okay. 267-377-7240. Text or call.
Fantastic. Kirk, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today and letting me share you to everyone that I know on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And I think you're awesome, and you do a lot for a lot of small businesses. So guys, if you are a small business owner, you're kind of been stuck, don't know how 2021 looks versus what happened in 2020, Kirk wants to help you, and I can tell you that he will. So give him a call, give him a text. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Shelby.